Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive. This time, we're tackling a figure who's been in the news a lot lately, and who's never far from uh, a meme or two, I guess you could say.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
We're talking, of course, about Elon Musk. And we've got a pretty fascinating source for you all today.
Oh,
It's in Chinese, and let me tell you, it offers a unique perspective on, well, on the man behind all those headlines.
I'm intrigued. What's the angle here?
Well, one of the things that really struck me is how this source compares Musk to like Tony Stark.
Iron Man.
Yeah, exactly. And they even bring up that cameo he had in Iron Man 2.
Right, right. It's almost as if they're saying that life is imitating art, or is it the other way around?
It does make you wonder, doesn't it? Is that part of Musk's appeal? Like the people see him as this almost fictional character.
It's a compelling narrative for sure. But what I found really interesting is how this source digs into Musk's family background.
Oh, okay, like trying to find the roots of his ambition.
Exactly. They talk about his mother, who was a model, his grandfather, who, get this, flew his own plane from South Africa to Australia.
Wow.
Yeah, quite the adventurer. And his father was an electrical engineer, which was a rare profession back then in South Africa.
So are they saying he inherited like, a mix of showmanship and daring
No.
and technical skills?
That's the picture they seem to be painting. They also emphasize that both of his parents were, well, wealthy.
Interesting. It makes you wonder about the role of privilege, right?
For sure. But even with a privileged background, Musk's childhood wasn't, without its challenges. The source mentions his parents' divorce and his move to Canada as a teenager.
Right, right. Life's never a straight line, even for someone like Musk, it seems.
Absolutely. But speaking of his early years, did you know he got his first computer when he was just 10 years old?
10? I mean, that was the early 80s. It's like getting a spaceship today.
Exactly. And then at 12, he sold his first computer game.
I was still trying to figure out how to beat level 1 of Super Mario Bros. At that age.
It shows you that his talent was evident pretty early on.
Definitely not your average kid.
Yeah.
It also makes his decision to drop out of Stanford in '95, right as the internet was taking off, even more interesting.
A pivotal moment, for sure. Windows 95 had just launched, and Musk saw the potential. He co-founded Zip2, which was an early online city guide.
Like a proto-Yelp.
Exactly. And then there was X.com, which, of course, eventually became PayPal.
So he's riding the dot-com wave, building and selling companies. Pretty heady stuff.
And he wasn't doing it alone. The source really dives into his rivalry with Peter Thiel, the founder of PayPal.
Oh, yeah. I can only imagine those board meetings.
It was a clash of titans, really, and it eventually led to Musk being ousted from PayPal.
Wow. I mean, that would be a major setback for most people. What did he do?
Well, that's where things get really interesting.
I'm all ears.
But I think we'll save that story for next time.
Right, cliffhanger.
You'll have to come back for part 2 to find out what happens next.
I guess we'll leave everyone hanging until then. But seriously, folks, tune in next time, because this Elon Musk story, well, it's about to get even wilder.
That it is. So last time we were talking about Elon Musk and that pretty dramatic exit from PayPal.
Yeah, not exactly the smoothest ending. Most folks would probably take some time to lick their wounds after something like that.
Right, but not Elon Musk. He jumps right back in the game, and not just with one venture, but 2.
SpaceX and Tesla. Talk about ambitious.
It's like he's channeling that whole Tony Stark persona we talked about, trying to bring those comic book fantasies to life.
Yeah, I see it. And it actually ties in with those 3 lifelong goals of his. Remember those?
Internet, sustainable energy,
Yeah.
and making humanity a multi-planetary species,
Pretty bold, right?
to say the least. And this source we have, being from China, really brings a different perspective to that whole space exploration thing.
It's not just about the science for them. It's like this deeply rooted desire to ensure the survival of humanity. Wow. So it's less about, planting a flag on Mars and more about having a backup plan if things go south here on Earth.
Exactly, like a cosmic insurance policy. But let's zoom in on SpaceX for a second. I mean, starting a company to build rockets and launch people into space, that takes some serious guts.
And money. Rockets aren't cheap.
You're telling me. And the source actually talks about how Musk overcame those early financial hurdles. There's a really interesting bit about his partnership with NASA.
Oh, yeah, right. When NASA was looking for, cheaper ways to get stuff into space.
And Musk basically said, hey, I can do that, and I can do it better.
With reusable rockets.
That was the game changer. Instead of throwing away a rocket after each launch, SpaceX designed them to land back on Earth.
Like a boomerang.
Exactly. The source really emphasizes how revolutionary that was. It made space travel more affordable, more accessible. It changed the entire industry.
Incredible. But at the same time, he's got Tesla going on too. And let's be honest, betting on electric cars back then was pretty risky.
Huge risk. The source talks about the massive financial investments he made in both companies at a time when both were really struggling.
He could have lost it all. But he stuck with it.
He was convinced electric cars were the future. And it wasn't just about the technology, was it? This source points out that Tesla's mission aligned with his own concerns about climate change and the need for sustainable energy.
It wasn't just business, it was personal.
Right. He wanted to change the world. And then there's that whole publicity stunt with the Tesla Roadster he sent into space, the one that's on its way to Mars.
Oh man, that was classic Musk. Like, hey, look, we can put electric cars in space. Just imagine what we could do down here.
Brilliant marketing, for sure. But beyond the spectacle, this source raises a really interesting question. Is there a bigger plan at play here?
Okay, now I'm really intrigued. What's the master plan?
Well, the source suggests that everything Musk does, from electric cars and space travel to even, Neuralink and the Hyperloop, it's all driven by this goal of ensuring humanity's survival and progress.
So it's like he's fighting climate change, extinction-level events, maybe even our own limitations as a species.
He's tackling the biggest challenges we face, but it also raises some tough questions.
Like what?
Well, if his goal is to save humanity, does that justify any means necessary?
That's a good point.
What about the ethical implications of some of his work? The allegations about working conditions at Tesla, his sometimes controversial behavior online.
Yeah, there's definitely another side of this story.
Eh.
All right, so we're back for the final part of our deep dive into the world of Elon Musk. And so far, we've seen his ambition, his, drive to push the boundaries of technology and really kind of reshape our world.
Right, and that drive, that ambition, it's definitely a key part of his story. But as we dig a little deeper into this source, it becomes clear that there's more to the picture.
Oh, I'm all ears.
Yeah.
What else does this source have to say?
Well, they don't shy away from some of the more controversial aspects of Musk's personality, his companies, even his sometimes his behavior.
Right, like that time he went on that Twitter rant and got himself into all sorts of trouble.
Exactly. It's a reminder that even, brilliant minds can make mistakes, especially when the pressure's on and the stakes are high. And this source, they actually bring up a really interesting point about responsibility.
Okay, like the responsibility that comes with having such a huge platform and influence.
Exactly. With great power comes great responsibility, right? But it seems like in Musk's case, sometimes that power, combined with his impulsive nature, it can lead to some questionable decisions.
So it's not always sunshine and rockets with Elon Musk.
Not always. The source also touches on the allegations about working conditions at Tesla, the accusations of anti-union practices and a pretty demanding work environment.
Right. And it makes you think, can you separate the man from the mission?
Yeah.
Like, if the goal is to benefit humanity, are there compromises that are, just not okay?
That's a tough question, a real ethical dilemma. And the source, they don't pretend to have all the answers, but they definitely encourage us to think critically about the potential downsides of ambition, even when it's tied to, to goals that seem positive on the surface.
And then there's the whole AI thing. On one hand, he's warning us about the dangers of AI, calling it an existential threat. But then he's also pouring resources into developing AI technology with Neuralink.
It's a contradiction, isn't it? And this source actually suggests that maybe he's trying to walk this tightrope, like he's trying to steer AI in a direction that benefits humanity while also recognizing its potential to, to become something we can't control.
So is he like a cautious optimist or a worried warrior? Is he trying to save us from AI, or is he trying to, merge with it to like outsmart it?
It's enough to make your head spin.
It really is. And that's what makes Elon Musk such a fascinating, even perplexing figure. He's full of contradictions, driven by these big ideas about the future, but also prone to missteps along the way.
He's a reminder that progress isn't always a straight line, and innovation often comes with some complicated baggage.
So where does that leave us? Is Elon Musk a hero, a villain, or something else entirely?
This source encourages us to move beyond those simple labels. Elon Musk is a product of his time, a reflection of of our own hopes and anxieties about the future.
Yeah, he's this symbol of human ingenuity, but also a cautionary tale about the need for ethics and responsible innovation.
He makes us think about the big questions.
He definitely does.
Yeah.
And whether you admire him, question him, or even just find him entertaining, there's no denying that Elon Musk is a force to be reckoned with.
And his story is far from over.
All right, everyone, that wraps up our deep dive into the world of Elon Musk. We hope you enjoyed it.
As always, thanks for listening.
And until next time, keep exploring.